Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Brew with Memli. I'm Mehmet and today we're going to brew our new Java Carbonic Maceration Natural from Tolima, Colombia. In this video, I'm going to brew side by side the same coffee, but one using the new Tetsu Kasuya's Hario Switch recipe and then our existing Hario Switch recipe to see what really changed. But first, let's talk about the coffee. Our coffee here is our new Java from El Vergel, our friends at El Vergel in Tolima, Colombia. The carbonic maceration natural for 96 hours under 6 bars of pressure. So they put the cherries into a tank flushed with carbon dioxide at 6 bars for 96 hours. It creates a beautiful complexity in the cup. It has a lot of tropical notes, roses, red fruits, and a juicy sweetness. All my brew with a 12, 13, 15 gram dose. So here I'll be using 15 gram dose on a 1 to 15 ratio for both the recipes, including Tetsu Kasuya's recipe. So we'll be using 1 to 15 ratio using 15 grams of coffee and 225 grams of water. On Tetsu's recipe, we're going to start with a 40 gram bloom on immersion. With my recipe, 50 grams drip. Then we will release the valve and put it to 90 grams. So that will add up 50 more grams. That is the 40-60 method. For me, another 50 grams. I know it's boring, but it's more mathematical. Then on Tetsu's recipe, we're going to add another 60 grams up to 150. For me, 50 grams up to 150. And then for both, we're going to do an immersion until 225, so 75 grams immersion, about 40 seconds immersion time at a lower temperature. On Tetsu's recipe, he opened up the kettle to let the temperature decrease. I'm not a big fan of this method because I cannot be consistently the same, so I'm using 2 kettles. A little difference as well. I ground Tetsu's recipe a little coarser than mine because of that double immersion. And here I go for... Now I roasted this coffee relatively light, very similar to a geisha profile because it really, the Java's shape is quite elongated, quite similar to things like Suzanne Rume, Sidras, geishas, etc., etc. After 40 seconds, I will open the valve and brew on top 40-45 seconds until 90. So we're adding 60 grams. And for me, after 40 grams, just another, after 40 seconds, sorry, just another 50 grams. And then we'll wait until about 1 minute 20, where we will pour the third pour until 150. Same for my switch recipe. So really the difference with Tetsu Kasuya's recipe is that beginning immersion, and I've tried several once. It adds, as he explained it really well, such a nice sweetness. But remember, we are always turning something off. Let me bring the cold kettle. At 150, we are going to go full immersion until 225. A bit later here, so we will adjust with the time. And then I will open the valve after 40 seconds of immersion. And every coffee will react a little bit differently as well. I did all those experiments with, once again, that's the biggest caveat is the roast profile, the coffee that all we do is empirical research, right? This is what I'm going to taste and assess is true for this kind of coffees. But there's a whole world of coffee there. And we are done here at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And we are done here at 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Like you really have the tropical notes the pomegranates, the berries, less the floral, less the rose water that we have in this coffee, but like a very sweet cake. And here, very similar, we smell less sweetness, slightly more brightness, and more floral. It is so balanced, extremely nice, sweet, pleasant, fruity. You don't have the tartness. It adds that texture, that sweetness. So you really have forward sweetness, texture, fruitiness as well. Let's see. Well, my recipe is not my recipe, it's just the one I use all the time. Huh? Definitely brighter. You still have some sweetness, but here the emphasis is on the complexity. Oh. You have a beautiful floral. Of course, juicier texture versus here, which is a little milkier, little fuller. So for texture, definitely this is the win. On complexity, this adds like you really have a different layer of tropical berries, pomegranate, and some roses or some rose water on the floral note. But sweetness, it goes here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Master Tetsu is always right, right? I mean, this is a wonderful cup of coffee. It stays, the sweetness stays, um, and and it's not overpowering. The balance from hot to cold, you still have that fruitiness, that texture. Not super expressive aftertaste, but really sweetness, texture, and that sort of balance between acidity and sweetness is nailed. Slightly cleaner finish here. And I wonder why. So that's what I like about this one is that you start having new flavors appearing. That melon, raspberries, roses, back to a pomegranate in a finish, like a very clean finish. So to me, on the complexity, the brightness, if you like the brighter cup of coffee, this recipe can be something very enjoyable, but quite complex as well. The only difficulty here um, is the bloom, where he uses only 50 grams or 40 grams. And in a bloom, you really want to make sure that you are soaking all the grounds. And so it's a little bit difficult sometimes to really make sure that everything is saturated. But then within 40 seconds, you can saturate, you can take a spoon and mix it. I try not to add any more motion because once again, I want to find a recipe that is reproducible, right? I will make sure that in 5 months, next week, with different coffees, we can reproduce the same with different people as well. So that's why I opt for a full manual and without much interaction before, after. I think what can be useful is, because if you remember, we did 40 grams, 50 grams, 60 grams, 75. So 40, 50, 60, 75. Here 50, 50, 50, 75. So 75 for both at lower temperature, 82 degrees versus 92 degrees. That one, we agree, 40 seconds, 92 at 82 degrees is cool. And it's really the bloom, the main change here. We have 40 grams on immersion and 50 grams drip. I'm going to do 50 grams immersion from now on. Keep you updated if there's any change, because I need to make sure that it works not just with carbonic maceration natural coffee, but also classic South American washed, African natural, etc., etc., and come back with a conclusion once I'm fine-tune my recipe. Because if I do immersion in the beginning, I may need to grind coarser as well. Well, now it's your turn to brew this wonderful coffee and those wonderful recipes. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time for more brewing.